In the sprawling world of indie games, Blueprint stands out, not just for its dreamlike architecture or mysterious narrative, but for the way it pulls players into a loop of exploration, experimentation, and strategic decision-making. Many players describe it as addictive, but why exactly does it have this effect? To answer this question, we can turn to the principles of game theory, the study of strategic decision-making in competitive and cooperative contexts. Blueprints cleverly applies several core concepts from game theory, creating a feedback loop of tension, reward, and uncertainty that keeps players coming back for more. At its core, Blueprints presents a series of iterative decisions day by day. Players choose which rooms to build and how to extend their mysterious mansion. Each decision involves weighing opportunity costs, maximizing utility, and hedging against uncertainty. This is the heart of game theory, a field concerned with how rational players make choices when the outcome depends on a combination of their own decisions and external factors. One of the draws of blueprints is that there are multiple ways to achieve the goal. There are three entrances to the antechamber, each with their own separate and distinct requirements for entering. The player never knows which door to head for until a critical resource is found in a room along the way, a special key, a broken lever, or the Great Hall. Sometimes that resource never surfaces, and other times it shows up too late to be of use for the current session. The player may have to change their entire strategy for the session to account for this unknown or last-minute discovery. The game step limit per game day introduces a finite horizon, which in game theory is known to dramatically alter strategic behavior. Unlike in infinite games where players optimize for sustainability or long-term gains, finite games create pressure to front-load risk or backload payoff, strategies many players instinctively adopt in blueprints. If you run out of steps for the day, you are done. You lose everything and start with nothing the next day. It adds an element of desperation. Do I have enough steps to make it to the dining room so I can have my dinner and get more steps? Should I draft the bedroom to get more steps, even if it is a dead end? And most important, do I have enough steps to make it to the basement and then back to room 46? One of the most compelling aspects of blueprints is its embodiment of the exploration versus exploitation dilemma, a problem studied extensively in both game theory and reinforcement learning. Players must constantly decide, should I draft the room with the key or the room with the jewel? The player must make the choice as to which will get them further at any given point in the session. Sometimes those choices pay off in a positive way, but other times not so much. Then there is the choice when you're ready for the next room. I only have one jewel left. Should I risk getting a dead-end room just because I don't have enough jewels to draft? What would be a better choice? In this case, you don't even know what your room choices are before you go to open the door. By the time you try the door, it is too late, and you may be stuck with a room with limited exits as opposed to the room that would provide valuable resources or additional doors in multiple directions. This balance of risk and reward is what keeps players engaged. Too much exploration, and you run out of steps. Too much exploitation, and you might miss out on crucial keys or high-value rooms. The optimal strategy is never clear, and that uncertainty creates a psychological hook. Another game-theoretic element at play in blueprints is the idea that players make decisions with limited information and limited knowledge. Unlike chess or other deterministic games, Blueprints offers an incomplete view of the mansion and obscures the full consequences of player actions. You're not given perfect information. You don't know what rooms will be offered through the next door, so your decisions then become a calculated risk. Should I draft the garage early to get access to the car and get additional keys and accept the dead end? Or should I draft the hallway and hope the garage is offered further along in the session? While the garage offers resources and a chance to open a new area in the game, which may be more desirable in the early days of exploration, there may be a chance to advance deeper in the mansion with the hallway, which may be more desirable in more advanced stages of the exploration. You're working within a set of rules that must be discovered, not just followed. This mirrors real-world decision-making, where outcomes are uncertain and data is incomplete. It also mirrors the behavior of agents in non-cooperative games who act based on probabilities rather than certainties. Blueprints keeps players in a state of partial knowledge, which, according to game theory, can paradoxically increase engagement by driving curiosity and risk assessment. Game theory also emphasizes the importance of feedback loops, systems where actions lead to reactions that inform future actions. In Blueprints, small victories, like acquiring a rare room or completing a puzzle, provide positive reinforcement, encouraging similar actions. Failures, like dead ends or wasted rooms, deliver negative feedback, prompting players to revise their strategies. This closely mirrors the adaptive strategies seen in evolutionary game theory, where agents learn and change based on previous outcomes. The genius of Blueprints is that these feedback loops are subtle. You're never told what to do. You learn through trial, error, and intuition. And because the game resets with each playthrough, the meta strategy you develop across sessions taps into iterated game theory. Each new session is not an isolated event, but a continuation of your evolving strategy. As the daily step limit approaches, Blueprints introduces a classic game theory twist, the endgame effect. Players begin to behave differently as steps run out, often taking more extreme risks or making bolder moves. This phenomenon is well documented in economics and game design. Finite games create a psychological urgency that intensifies player engagement. Additionally, the mystery of what happens at the end, will you reach room 46 or not, acts as a payoff function with unknown value. You're not just chasing points, you're chasing answers. That hidden outcome keeps players from giving up, even if their run feels doomed. You never lose the game unless you quit playing. There is always the feeling of maybe next time I will make it all the way. And even when you reach the ultimate goal of room 46, there is the question of what did I miss? There is so much more that keeps the player playing long after room 46 has been found. So why is Blueprints addictive? It's not flashy graphics. It's not a loud story. Blueprints is not just a game. It's a psychological experiment wrapped in beautiful design. Blueprints is vast and immersive, with a rich story just waiting to be discovered if you're willing to take the time to explore. Through its use of strategic choice, limited information, time pressure, and feedback loops, it embodies many principles of game theory in a way that feels intuitive and organic. You're not just playing, you're learning, adapting, and evolving with each run. The game is addictive not because it manipulates, but because it respects the intelligence of the player and pulls you in deeper. It invites us into a strange world and challenges us to master it, not through brute force, but through strategic thinking and creative problem solving. The mansion has no voice, and yet it speaks, and what it says depends entirely on you. That's not just good storytelling, that's timeless design. Long after you've stopped playing, you'll still be thinking about Blueprints. And that's what makes it truly brilliant.